Okay, here in this picture, we've picked out our spot on our property where this greenhouse is going to benefit us the best. So we've measured it out, staked it out, and then we laid down our ground covering. Now, our ground covering is about 2 feet minimum, wider and longer than the actual greenhouse. So we have a base going all the way around the greenhouse on the outside. So once we got that measured, we staked in with a lot of stakes all the way around the whole flooring, the middle, the sides, the corners, everywhere. So it's flat and wind can't push through it or anything. And hopefully just stop most of the ants and the other bugs from coming through the ground, you know, through the winter months and stuff, looking for heat. So that's what this position is.
And the stakes that you're talking about, those are
The
landscape staples.
Yeah, little 7-inch landscape stakes, kind of like a U shape.
Right. And the reason why we went a little bit larger than what the greenhouse was going to be is because we didn't want weeds to get into the greenhouse. So we went about 2 feet out from all sides of the greenhouse just to keep the weeds away from the greenhouse, right?
Yeah, weeds and bugs. So that way we can trim around the flooring and not be worried about trimming around the greenhouse.
Okay.
Okay, in this picture here, we have already drilled and cemented our poles into the ground.
Okay.
I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 12. So they're in, I'm going to say they're in about 18 inches because we modified this greenhouse. So I guess what they say is they want it to go down about 36 inches and have a couple feet above ground. Well, we found out ahead of time that we've got plenty more film that they ship us than is required. So I went down 18 inches deep with my hole digger and cemented these poles in. The directions don't normally say cement, they want you to pound them in. I cemented them in at 18 inches for strength, which is going to give us a complete more height on the bow. So here we go right here. We got 1, 2, 3, we got 6 of them already in, and as they're drying, we're putting in the bow part. Okay, this is the same scenario picture. As you can see, different outlook. These are the completion of the bows now. All the poles going cemented in the ground are already in. And now we're just finishing the bows. We're tightening the screws and nuts, lining them all up. And you do have to measure them, and you do have to set them to the same height on the right side and the left side. You can't get off measurement there. So it takes a few minutes to make sure everything's measured, and always keep a tape measure and go from your center to the floor and make sure all your bows are the same. Okay, this picture here, we're going ahead and putting the wiggle wire on the film on the sides. The sides. You're wrapping around the sides, the front side and the back side. So it's going to take a couple people. Someone is going to have to be holding the film real tight on one side, and you're going to be pulling it yourself with one free hand as you're forcing the wiggle wire into the gutter where it sits.
Right, and this picture shows also we've already got the film done on the front of the greenhouse, and now this is the top layer going in. So you're going to actually put at least 3 wiggle wires inside of every channel, but you want to make sure that when you're putting your film on that you're pulling it tight. And I was actually pulling it from the front, holding it really tight as Keith was putting in the wiggle wire for this, as you can see.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's exactly what this picture is showing, that one person is pulling one way, and as you're up there on top, you're pulling it the other way with the other hand, you're putting in the wiggle wires. Okay, this picture here is showing the door, the film coming over the door frame. The door is already in place, the frame's already in place, but the film is hanging way over the door. At this point, once you get the wiggle wire all across the top, now the film is going to be hanging down the sides. Now we're going to start figuring out where we're going to be cutting this film so it does not interfere with the door. Here, this picture shows both sides completed, both doors in. We've put our trim board all the way around. We use 2x10s. We put 24-inch metal rods in the ground and kind of U-bolted them to each other, to the sides, and to the framework of the greenhouse. So they are secure. They are secure to the greenhouse, and they are secure to each other.
And we got our guard dog there, Roxy.
Yeah, and we got the top bow in place.
The purling.
The purling got that in place. The purling
is in place. And if you notice, the film that's on both sides of the doors is really tight.
Yes, you have to, like I said before, someone is pulling one side and you're pulling the other, and that film has to be super, super tight as you're inserting the wiggle wire. And
there were a couple times where we had to undo it and redo it,
yes,
just to get all the wrinkles out. So just keep at it, because you can get it right.
Yeah, just don't get frustrated, because it might take 2 or 3 times to pull the wrinkles out. But as you do it, you learn more.
Right.
Okay, here we're seeing our door, both doors on, and that we have cut the film that we have applied on both sides that was used to overhang over the doors. So you're going to have to cut this film off to match your door. Now, normally what's right is to leave about 1 inch or so of film hanging below the frame of the bows and the door. That way, that is, in case something happens in the future where you get some slack or a little bit of wrinkles, you can loosen a few screws and you can pull on that inch and tighten things.
Yeah, and I'm circling here for you where we have a little bit of overhang from the film, so you can see that we're not trimming it flush. We're leaving a little bit just in case.
Yeah, all the way around the whole door, you can see with these just the circles that there's film all the way around, about 1 inch or 1.5 inches. You can even go 2 inches; it won't hurt nothing.
No.
Okay, here we're also, this is just showing how much of the film is hanging down. You can barely see it, but it's there. Got maybe 2 inches of film hanging down, and there are a little bit of wrinkles up there. Now, an example is I can loosen these screws where my fingers are, and I can pull on that film that's hanging down, and I can pull to the right and to the left, and I can get rid of these wrinkles. You just have to work at it. There's going to be a few of them, and if you want to make it perfect, then you just have to keep working at it. But the name of the game is to get this film tight.
And I think we did get it really tight.
Yeah.
And this is just another inside view.
Inside looking out.
And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to circle. Again, that's how much extra we had hanging on the inside of the greenhouse of the film. And also up here by the purling, we had that much extra hanging.
Yeah, that will always be there. That's to your benefit. It's just leave it there. That way, if you have to pull something in the future, it's there for you to adjust.
Yeah, let's talk real quick about how we adjusted the doors with these. I don't know what you call them. I remember it took us a couple of times to figure out the width of the door, and we had to keep loosening these screws up and moving it out some more. And this was before we put the film on the outside.
Yes, these rods actually go all the way down to the ground, these square tubings. Now, into the ground is another 6-foot rod that goes on both sides. They are, I think, we pounded those 3 feet into the ground, and they're sticking up about 2 feet. They insert into these tubes. That is your wall base of the greenhouse. So where these are circled up here is where you're going to loosen those and go right. Put your leveler on the square part of these posts, and you want to make sure that these posts are level, where the bubble is in the lines. So you'll move these joints back and forth until your level is perfect. And then you'll tighten them up and do the same thing to the right side. Same thing. Put your level on there, move them until they're level. So from the floor to the top of the bow, your level is going to be leveled, your little dot. Then you crank those babies down, and that means you got your square. You got a square door.
Okay.
They're also showing some more of the film that's left over. But also remember the bar above my hands is put on after we have leveled the poles coming down. After both right and left door frame poles are leveled from top to bottom, then we inserted this beam going across the top, right? You know, right where the arrow's at. And that also will require a level right in the middle of where my hands are on the square tubing. You're going to put a level there, and you're going to screw in the left side. And then you're going to make sure that level is level, and then you're going to screw in the right side. And that way you've got square, vertical, and horizontal. Same kind of thing here. We're showing the film, showing that I'm trying to pull out these wrinkles right here. I'm going to pull tight, and I'm also adjusting the door. So I'm going to open and close the door maybe 5-10 times. And if this greenhouse is on dirt. It's not on cement. So on cement you have almost a perfect measurement, but this is on dirt. So my door's not going to, even though my poles are completely leveled, my door might not shut completely square. So I'm looking at it. I'm going to close the door, and I'm going to adjust one of these arms to the right or to the left, these poles, to make sure the door is secure. This is the inside frame of the door. I put extra screws in. It says to put one every 24 inches or so. I put them in about every 8-10 inches. There's another measurement right there. See, I put in more for security. It's not going to hurt nothing. It's just going to give you the longevity of your greenhouse. Same thing on the outside. The directions say to put one every 24 inches or so, or here, no, I put them in, every 10 inches. It gives me the strength, and that way if I had a wrinkle or something, I can loosen a couple of them and pull the wrinkle out and tighten them back up. Same on the corners. Another demonstration of how we cut the film from the sides on the bottom. We left about 2 or 3 inches there.
And you're talking about right here.
Yeah, we left that there. So in the future, if we got to pull something to make it a little bit tighter, that's where we're going to loosen our screws, and we're going to pull right there.
Okay. Now this is an interesting thing, because when we ordered this greenhouse kit from Grower Solution, we asked them how much extra film do we get, and they said you get a lot of extra film, and this is the extra. We had the same amount on the other side of the greenhouse. So the reason why we didn't put our poles 3 feet in the ground like they suggested and cemented them at 18 inches, we got the extra height out of the greenhouse. So the inside of our greenhouse is how tall?
I think it's almost 12 feet.
It's almost 12 feet. So we could have probably gone higher because we have all of this extra film. And it was the same for the front and the back. There was a lot of extra film. So don't be afraid to get a few extra inches or a couple of extra feet out of your greenhouse.
Yes, it's very important to realize on our next greenhouse, we're going to go even higher. I think these are supposed to be 8 foot tall, but because we went 18 inches down, we made that much of a difference on our height. And when we put the bows that go all the way around to the top, to the left, to the right, those are actually up another 8 or 9 inches also. So I think we're at 11 feet, 10 inches, and we're supposed to be at 8 feet. So we gained a lot of height on this greenhouse just by modifying things.
And at first, we just rolled up, as you can see right here, we just rolled up the extra. I would suggest not doing that because it collected a lot of water. But you do get these wind straps right here, and they're really easy to put on. What kind of washers or screws did you use for
We
that?
used wood screws with probably an inch and a half washer, so that it would actually hold down the film to the wood. And it seems kind of hard, but we actually tied these straps to a bottle, like a water bottle, and Patty would throw it over to me. As she secured it on one side, she would throw it over, and I would catch the bottle, and that's what we're doing here. I just caught the bottle on this one, and I'm securing it to the wood border.
And we did pull it tight. Okay, so there is a little bit of an indentation between our bows here with that black wind brace.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to pull it too tight. You're not going to hurt anything, and it's actually going to make everything better. And back to when I had to throw this over the top towards Keith, it's not as easy as it looks. I had to really give it a good heave ho, and a couple of times I didn't make it all the way across the top. It was fun though.
Okay, this picture here, same thing. We've got a lot, even though we still went up almost 3.5 feet above normal height, we still have lots of extra film. So we're trimming it because we did find out that a couple of nights it rained. It did gather lots of water and bugs and crickets. So we're like, let's just trim this all the way around like we did the sides, make it nice and tight, and leave enough for us to pull if we need to.
Yeah.
Same picture there. That's all extra film, folks. All that is extra film. So when you lay out your greenhouse, look at it first. Say, wait a minute, I can go up another 2 or 3 feet easily because of all this extra film. So think about it first. Put your plan together. Same thing. It's all extra film on both sides. Okay, here. This is something that we did. See, you can see the nut, the self-tapping screw there. Okay. Now, we put up these poles here. They're an extra 8 or 10 inches higher than normal. So I got 2 screws in these things, one on the back side, one on the front side. So because it's windy and this film is not attached to these poles, the wind can force it in and out and vibrate. So we put rags behind the pole and actually behind the pole, in between the pole and the film, so the wind would not let the screws or the metal where the 2 poles join rub the film in the future. So that'll protect it from any kind of wear. And we did it all the way around wherever there's a joint in the greenhouse, even on the roofs.
Yeah, so we'll just show a couple pictures here. We made it look a little bit nicer, but these are just cheap rags that I bought over at our home improvement store, and I just folded them up kind of nice and wrapped it like a Band-Aid, and it holds there because I tucked the ends between the film and the pole. So you can see right here, yeah, it looks kind of funky, but you know what? We didn't want to take the chance of having our film tear where those two meet.
Yeah, this is preventative maintenance, folks. If you do these little things like this, once your greenhouse is up and running, you're going to be busy enough taking care of it and taking care of your food. These things here, you want to be able to take care of your greenhouse. Just look at things and say, hey, wait a minute, that might rub there. Just these little things is an upgrade.
This is just a picture of the inside of the greenhouse. You can see here all of these staples, landscape staples that we put in all along the edges here. We just wanted to make sure that it was nice and secure. There's no weeds that could grow. However, there were a few weeds that kind of get through this, but for the most part, all the weeds are staying out, and we don't have any fire ants breaking through this ground cover.
Or grubs or
anything. It's
now,
actually very nice.
This film is overlapped at least by 2 inches.
Yeah.
So it's not just laid side by side. This flooring is overlapped so that one side rests on top of the other side at least a good 2 inches.
Right. And I just want to show you another thing here. I'm trying to erase. Erase, erase. So you're going to see another picture coming up, but I just want to show here on the video that we built raised beds all along both walls. We did not take out any of this ground cover. We left all of that in there. And because it's got little teeny tiny holes, the water does go through.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It doesn't puddle up underneath. So this was safe to use in the raised beds.
The most important thing is the reason why you're doing this, folks, is because you're stopping ants, grubs, bugs, anything from burrowing under the ground into your greenhouse. This is highly preventative maintenance right here, stopping these insects from coming in, which you're going to get some anyways with your doors open. You're going to get something. But this is going to stop a lot of creatures from getting in that you don't want in.
Right. And I did have problems with fire ants getting in, but they were getting in right here underneath the wood, and they were crawling behind a planter. They made their way in, and they started a nest, but I quickly got rid of them.
That is the finished picture with the straps on, the trim all the way around. All the film is trimmed all the way around, all four sides. Everything's buttoned up. We got all of our little rags on all of our poles. That there is basically us getting ready to move stuff in.
Yeah, and you can see here too, right here along the edge is our ground cover.
Yeah, it's like a little walkway all the way around.
Yeah, it's real clean, it's real nice. And here's all the extra film that we had cut off of one end. But I mean, the greenhouse is beautiful. I love it. It's tight. It's secure. And we thoroughly enjoy it. And yeah, Roxy is our good guard dog.
It's, as we constructed this one, we realized we can actually, and we will on our next one, in our next video, we show you of us installing our next greenhouse, we will go higher because we can. Now we know we have so much film left over that we can go another foot or so higher easily. So plan these things out when you go step by step. And wait a minute, I can do this. I can go higher. I can go lower. I can go wider. You just plan out each step.
This is just an inside look. I bought these little solar lights, and I just hung them up with string. And actually at night, when we're inside the house, I can look out at the greenhouse and I see this soft glow from these little lights. Just, you know,
yeah,
just
it shows.
A little touch. Yeah.
Okay, well, installing these other clamps on the roof, remember to measure these and make sure that they are even on both sides, because as we were assembling those, you can see one could be too far to the right and one could be too far to the left. If you look lengthwise down the greenhouse, you go, wait a minute, they're off. So you're going to spend a few minutes getting them right in the middle. They're going to run along this runner right here the long way, and you can easily have one a foot off to the right or a foot off to the left. So keep measuring, keep looking at them, and keep them going the same direction. That's a view of us moving in, more or less.
And here it is. This is the final product. Like I said, we did not move or take out any of this ground cover. The ground cover is underneath this bed and the middle bed and this bed over here. And we're really enjoying the greenhouse. We did buy, you can see right up here at the top, we do have a, what do you call this?
Shade
cloth. And it's white, and I don't know if it so much kept the greenhouse cooler, but it was really blazing hot in there this summer, so we had to keep both doors open. I think the next greenhouse that we order, I want to get one with roll-up sides. I just think that that'll help keep the greenhouse much cooler.
That shade cloth is, I would almost say, folks, that's a must. It just makes so much of a difference, especially in the summer or even in the winter. It just makes so much of a difference for the temperature inside the greenhouse. It actually feels like in the winter it helps keep a little bit of warmth in there. So I would recommend these. Definitely. And our raised beds are attached to the sides that we built around this greenhouse. All four sides of that 2x10s there, these raised beds are on the inside are attached to the runners that we have all the way around the greenhouse. They're all screwed in, so they're not moving anywhere.
Oh, and this
That's
right
our
here,
friend.
this is our friend. We had a praying mantis put her egg right there. So we were kind of excited about that. Anyways, folks, hope you enjoyed this. Leave comments down below. If you have any questions that you want a little bit more detail on, we'd be more than happy to get back with you on that. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We would appreciate the support. And hit that thumbs up if you like this video. And we'll see you on the next one.